Hey guys, and welcome to game number 70 out of 100 of the Mack vs. Machine series, where I'll be playing 100 games of Scrabble against the top online bot, HastyBot. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. HastyBot is first and opens with Kanban, and we've got a lot of L's. So what do we want to do about it? Yeah, not a lot of good options here at all. Maybe lapel? I don't really see anything better. I mean, if you wanted to keep the value, you could play Paul for like 6, but I don't think that's worth it. I mean, the nice thing about GL1 is, especially if I draw an I, it actually turns into a pretty good leave because of the ing suffix. So this is probably about as good as we're going to get. I don't think I see anything better. I mean, you could also do legal, which scores 2 less. I mean, the P is, in theory, better than the G, but at least GLN does have that upside if I draw the I, so I think I'm going to go with lapel. Okay, so he bingos with 16. And, let's see. I think ungentle is good, right? I can do that. So, yeah, I guess I'll just bingo here. Okay. Plays be due. So at least we're still fighting. We're down 58. And we have a decent rack here. Oh, well, yeah, actually we have XU. Well, we could also play 6. So let's see what the score difference is. 6 is 67. XU is 52. So it's 15 more points, which is a lot of points if we play 6. That being said, duct is a much worse leave than DICTS. But I don't think it's 15 points worse. So I'm going to go ahead and play 6. Yeah, it's just a little bit too consonant heavy, I think, to keep DICTS. They're also part of the deciding factor is there aren't any floating vowels, right? I have C, Y, S, T to work with. Like, if I had some E's and A's to work with, then maybe be more inclined to sacrifice the points and go for a bingo. But without such good prospects of bingoing, I don't think it makes sense to sacrifice the 15 points. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. He plays Jotty, and alright, we do pool some vowels, which is good. Don't think we quite have a bingo here. We'd have duacento with an N, but there are no N's to work with. So we could play like deject through this J for a good score, but we probably want to take away this bottom spot, because that's a really useful hotspot for him if he can overlap. I don't see anything great there. Probably just code. It is at least 37 points, though, which is not bad. So that's probably fine. Yeah, okay, let's just go ahead and do that. I mean, I really want to take out that spot, and we do at least score pretty well. Lots of like R's and N's left too to improve our leave. So this seems pretty good. And okay, he plays Triumph, which is a nice play to unload a bunch of tiles, and we do not draw well at all. We have now 6 vowels, including 2 U's. Maybe looking at an exchange here. I mean, I guess I could play like out 8. It's probably worth it. I mean, I definitely am not going to play like hot. You can't keep 4 vowels. That's way too much. So yeah, probably out 8. I mean, or out 8. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. Yeah, I think, because I'd be keeping ET if I traded. EU isn't 14 points worth. I think out 8 is barely worth it. Oh, there is another cool option, actually, of Couteau, which just basically unloads everything. It just gives back so much, though. I mean, especially with a Q unseen, it's going to bail him out of so many Q racks. I mean, the U isn't too easy to work with. But it's still just, I think it still just gives back too much. I'm not inclined to do that. And at least it is the last U, There's no more U's unseen. So after out 8, I don't risk drawing another U to my EU leave, which does help a little bit. There's also, now that I see it, there's also Toupee, which scores the most. It scores 20. Problem is, I mean, it gets rid of my E. The E is a considerably better tile than an A, especially with 6 A's and only 3 E's unseen, so that's not good. It also gives back a lot on the right here. So I'm not inclined to do that for 6 more. I think out 8 is still the best play of those. Yeah, Couteau is interesting, because it would be nice to shed that U. But I'm not in like a bad position. I don't need to be aggressive. I don't want to give him easy 40 or 50 point plays. There is one other option I'm now seeing too, of Toya, which scores really well. It scores 27. Well, really well as far as this rack goes, but it keeps 2 U's. And I just don't think I can stomach that. I mean, yeah, 2 U's is just too much. I don't think I can do that. Even though it's 13 points less, I think out 8 is probably better. I don't think there's any other options that are viable that I'm not considering. Yeah, okay. I hope I'm not missing anything else. I'm gonna go ahead and play out 8. And he plays Ziggs. We have Squame. Squamae. Unfortunately, I don't think it plays, which is sad, but that is part of the game. Macaques through a C would be cool, but also doesn't play. Okay, so that's the bad news. The good news is we're still going to be scoring like 50 points. Well, we have several ways to score 50 points. Number 1 is to play Quash, which isn't bad at all. I mean, 51 keeps AEM. There's also Squama for 54, which is, I'm not sure it's better. We'll see. It scores 3 more points, but leaves the H open. Squama here is clearly better than Squame because we saved the hook. I mean, probably we're not going to want to use it, but theoretically we saved the hook, and the E is also fairly valuable with only 3 unseen. I'd love to save the S since it is the last S, or the case S, but I don't see a way to score nearly as many points while saving it. Yeah, so I think it's between Quash and Squama. Probably Squama. Scores 3 more, unloads an extra tile for the blank, which is nice. I'm not too worried about the H, especially he probably has a fairly constant heavy rack with Ziggs. So I may actually be in better position to use the H than him. So I think I'm leaning towards playing Squama here. Yeah, I think that's probably... Wait a second. Or is... Now I'm remembering, is Quamash good or is it just Quamas? There's a word Quamass. I think Quamash is not good, but I'm honestly not positive. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I think it's Camash with a C, Camash. I can't remember. I don't want to take the risk. If I somehow lose a turn here, that's just absolutely devastating. I think I need to play something I'm sure of. And the M is at least a good tile for scoring, so it would be a little bit of a mistake. It wouldn't be a massive mistake to not play Quamash here, even if it's good. So, given I'm not sure, I can't take the risk. I kind of think it's not good anyway, but I could easily be wrong. So let's go ahead and play Squama. Alright, he plays 4th, so he's still up a little bit, but not much. Not a bad draw here. Little constant heavy. Probably going to play Endow just to shed the W. Basically ties up the game. EMR is a pretty strong, versatile lead for both bingling and scoring, so I think... Yeah, I mean, I don't see how we're going to really do better than this. I'm getting a little bit low on time, so I'm going to go ahead and play that and try to save some time. Triffid, and we have Amelior. Is it going to play? I believe not. Anything from the C? I don't think so. So, do we have any good overlaps here? We have miler. Keeps 2 vowels, which isn't ideal. Email and mail. Yeah, I don't think I have anything better there. It's a lot of points. It's 37. Pool is pretty evenly split between vowels and consonants. I just don't see how I'm going to score nearly that many points. I don't want to play LMI and get rid of both my E's. Or mealy there. Yeah, I could play email. Yeah, I can't give up 11 points, I don't think, though. That's a lot in a close game like this on a board that's not particularly good for scoring. So I think I'm just going to do this, and hopefully I won't draw a huge pile of vowels. Okay. So Harmon, we pull the blank. Do we have a bingo? I want to say no. I'm close to like Chigatai. I mean, we have 7s like agitate on our rack, but there's nowhere to play. I have a cool play though of gape, which sets up our A hook for a gape. And there is an A unseen, which he could use there, but the pool is terrible for bingoing. So even if he scores a bit there, then I can hopefully bingo from this H next turn. I just don't really have a good way to score, so that does look like a strong idea, assuming I can't bingo. There's definitely nothing from this H though, right? I'm just quickly going through the alphabet in my head, but I really don't think there's anything. Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, let's try gape. That looks pretty strong. And he plays Eve, and I should just be able to go with variety or naivety here and win, right? I mean, there's 4 O's unseen. He's got nothing. Villayette, is that more? Oh, let's see. For a 24, 28 versus... I think they're the same, right? Yeah, Villayette is 86. Naivety is 86. Is there anything that gets both the triple with a V or Y and the double word? Don't see it yet. I think it's just naivety, variety, and Villayette. Yeah, that's all I see. So, it doesn't really matter too much. I mean, we're going to be winning this game easily either way. I'll go ahead and play Villayette. He plays Gonia, and we just need to find our best spot for the O, which is probably J-O for 9. We have anything better? Yeah, we do. We have Rho for 10. Inserting the O in there, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so a good game. 430 to 376 win. There were definitely a few turns. I want to check and see if Comanche is good. There were a few turns I didn't feel super confident about, but overall I think I played pretty well. Out 8 was definitely interesting as well. So let's take a look. Yeah, he plays Kanban, which looks really good. Oh, I didn't see Nell. Is it better? I'm not sure. I mean, it scores 4 more, which is good. GLN obviously is better for bingoing. But it also gives back this big spot here for an X or other 4-point tile, which isn't great. So maybe I might have played Nell if I saw it, just to not give back as much. And GLP at least does have some scoring potential. So it's probably close. I mean, I don't think Lapel is a bad play, but it may be slightly safer to play Nell. Ungentle only bingo here, so that looks good. He plays Bidu. Not a great looking play, but it's a clunky rack. Yeah, Wedded isn't particularly better. I guess he just doesn't really have any options that don't go through. Yeah, because the next best option that doesn't play down there is Tude, which is pretty bad. So yeah, I guess Bidu isn't horrible. I mean, I hate keeping 3 constants and making this opening down here. But his other options are just so bad that maybe it's reasonable. Yeah, 6 looks fine. Again, XU would have been 15 less points while saving the S. But it just, if I had more vowels to work with, as I mentioned, I would have done it. But CDIST, without vowels to work with, just doesn't have enough upside that I felt taking the 15 points made sense. Jody, yeah, that looks pretty good for him. I think code is fine. I mean, it plays here too, but obviously I'm best off taking out this spot. So that looks pretty solid. Yeah, Triumph is a nice play by him here. Just pretty clunky rack, and he pretty much sheds it all at once while scoring a good number of points. You could play Fuji to try to score big with an H or an M next turn, which is interesting. I mean, there's still probably, I mean, especially with a Q on scene, I don't think you want to do that though. If your position was really bad, then you probably go for something like this, but it's basically an even game, so you're better off just playing Triumph here. Okay, so yeah, I don't think there are any options here. I guess Moo and Meow I didn't consider, but I don't think those are good plays to give back this spot. I considered Toupee. I did not like that because of keeping the E instead of the A and giving back the right-hand side. I considered Couteau, which may be a better play, but I didn't like that because, again, giving back these U's here for big scores, especially if he picked up the Q, I'm just bailing him out of potentially really clunky rack for like 50 points, which is just terrible if that's what ends up happening. Yeah, I think Bow is fine, but EOTU I think is worse than EU. It's a bad enough leave. I'd rather just keep fewer tiles. Like generally, if you're going to keep a bad leave, it's better to keep a bad leave with fewer tiles than a bad leave with more tiles, because that at least gives you more opportunities to draw a bailout tile like a blank or an S, or just draw some scoring tiles or other consonants to balance the rack out. So generally, like EU, something like EU is a bit better than EOUT. So yeah, I think out 8, not a good looking play, but it's probably fine. Toya again, it scores a lot, but EUU is just so bad. You really can't you can't keep that if at all possible to avoid it. So I think out 8 is fine. Interesting here. So he plays Ziggs, which I guess is fine. I mean, you could also consider Frogs keeping the Z for the next turn, but I think keeping both Fs together can be pretty good for scoring. Like he'll get Hoof or Huff a lot of the time. So I think Ziggs is fine. Also doesn't give back as much as Frogs. I mean, FZ, it's this type of leave where like it could end up being really good if you draw the right tiles, but if you draw like a V and a U, it could also be really, really clunky. So I think Ziggs is fine. Komash is good. Dang it. Okay, I just wasn't sure. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that Komas, right? Quamass. Let me just check that. But I think that's also good. Oh no, that's not good. Oh, so what am I thinking of? Is it it's Camass. Okay. So I got it backwards. It's Kamash and Komash, not Komas and Kamash. Right? So assuming Camash, yeah, Camash is no good. Okay. So I got it backwards. But it happens. If I didn't have any other good options, I probably would have tried it, but like I said, Squam is not that much worse. It's 9 less points. But EM is a bit of a better leave than an E, just because the M balances it out and is also a really good flexible tile for either scoring or bingoing. So it's probably about a 6-point mistake on equity. Taking out the H would have probably been nice too. So yeah, maybe like an 8-point mistake. So it's a sizable mistake, but not like a gigantic mistake. And I just knew that I couldn't, if I lose a turn here and then he just blocks all my plays there, like I'm basically dead. Like I have to make a valid play that scores 50 points here. So without being like 100% sure, which was not a risk I could take. So I wish I were sure of it, but given my uncertainty, I absolutely made the right call. So that's fine. He plays 4th, which, yeah, ugly rack here. I mean, either 4th or Froth look good. I probably would have gone with Froth because you have an R. So if you can pull an I and an E, you'll have Frothier next turn for 42. So I would have actually gone with Froth if I were him, just because I'm already 1/3 of the way there to that extension. Endow looks good. Yeah, there's really not much else to consider here. It scores pretty well, gets rid of my clunkiest tile. Another ugly rack for the bot. Triffid, I guess. I mean, what else are you going to do with this? You can't play Virid anywhere. 5, keeping DIRR is disgusting. Arrived doesn't score anything. Yeah, at least with Triffid too, you're turning over 5 tiles. There's a blank. It is Val heavy, so RV can be salvaged. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, I didn't love Myler, but yeah, there just doesn't seem to be any other options. Like, it's a lot of points, and it's a close game, so if I can score 37 points, go up 20 on this board, that's on a board that really does not have I mean, it has some bingo lines like this C, but it doesn't have a lot of bingo lines and not a ton of scoring opportunities either. So if I can go up 20 on this board, that's pretty good. And yeah, I mean, AE, if I can just pull a few consonants, I should be fine. So I think Myler is reasonable. Again, just really important to score here. You don't want to be doing things like this because on a board like this, because on a wide open board, maybe, but you're just not likely enough, even if you draw a bingo, to have a spot for it on this board. And when you don't have a spot for it, you're going to have all 1 point tiles and not be able to score. On boards like this, much more important to score. And in Leave Like AE is actually better than AEILR because then I have more potential to pick up stuff like an H or a Y that I can score with on the next turn as opposed to all 1 pointers. As well as more chances at the blank, which I did indeed draw this turn. And I actually, maybe, I wonder if I should play Eat here. Like, maybe, I wonder if with Gape, now that I think of it, do I run too much of a risk of, like, drawing 2 vowels? That's an interesting question and not hitting anything. Because if I draw just one consonant, like if I draw any of the N, R, or the V, I should be set to bingo there and win the game. But if I don't, I could maybe run into some headaches if I draw 2 vowels. But then if I draw 2 vowels, he's going to end up having both V's, and I'm probably still fine. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, if I play Eat, AGI blank, I do score more, which is nice. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Gape just has so much upside that it's probably still fine. And I do save Eat for next turn as well. So that's definitely a plus. I think Gape is fine. And then yeah, he plays Eve, and yeah, anything here is perfectly reasonable at this point. It's an easy win, and we both play the endgame optimally, it looks like. And yeah, 430 to 376. So good win for us. Really, the only clear mistake was not playing Quamash, which I saw and wasn't sure of, but that's okay. It was probably a moderate-sized mistake, nothing gigantic. And otherwise, I felt like we played pretty solidly. Lapel was questionable, Out 8 maybe questionable, Gape I think was right, but conceivably questionable. So a few interesting turns, one mistake. Otherwise, though, pretty sound game. So happy with this one. Good to get another win, and we are now officially through the first 70 games of the series. So yeah, we are only 30 games to go, and we are now at 44 wins and 26 losses. So we're in very good shape to maybe even close out the series soon, guys. 44 wins. We need 7 more wins to close out the series, and there are 30 more games to go. So maybe even by sometime in the 80s, we'll be able to close it out. Maybe in the 70s even, if we can go like 7-3 in the next 10 games, we'll actually close it out. But worst case, hopefully we'll be able to close it out sometime in the 80s in terms of the number of games. So yeah, thanks for sticking with me this far, and we have 30 games to go, so hopefully we'll still have a lot more good content. Yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.